Hello everybody, Loremaster of Sotek here, and I just got linked this on my community page, or my Discord, and I wanted to go ahead and make a quick video about it, just because I'm not going to be live streaming until much later today, and it's going to be Vermintide stuff anyway, just because there's a new beta starting, or that started yesterday, and I want to get in on that. So, just wanted to say that someone posted just some stuff about Warhammer 2, because understandably, there has been a fair amount of panic, I think. I do think it's ridiculous, but I understand how people feel the way they do. That Three Kingdoms came out and basically was super duper successful. Like, you know, it crushed all prior records, it's done really well, and there have been people who've been kind of sitting there wringing their hands going, oh crap, like, is this bad for Warhammer? Are we going to get pushed back? Are we going to get delayed? Are they just not going to take care of us? Are they going to abandon us for 3K DLC? Yada yada to infinity. And I am very, which I thought was a little ridiculous. Delays, maybe, but probably not substantial ones, but definitely not cancels or anything. You know, Warhammer still has done very, very, very well. It's just 3K just did super well, but it also tapped into the Chinese market, so what were you expecting? You know, as long as it was a good game, it ended up being a great game. But anyway, the reason I wanted to make this video is because Gray CA, our fearless leader, the great bearer of news, the worshipped goddess of Tuesday Newsday, even though it's Wednesday, has confirmed that there is going to be a dev diary. Hopefully, a dev diary either this month or next month. And it's almost based on the way she says this whole comment with the only Lord Packs left for DLC was only referring to Warhammer 2. We're not really in a place to say what a Warhammer 3 pre-order will or will not be. And then we're looking into how we would want to do dev diaries, as I've said. And hopefully we will get something out either this month or next month. That seems to heavily imply that we're getting some kind of vaguish news on... Well, that confirms two things that are worth talking about. One is that Warhammer 3 is not coming anytime super soon. So, like, it's not going to be brought up in the next dev diary. I would be surprised if we get anything in the next dev diary about Warhammer 3 other than the typical stuff they've done in the last two, which is they make a chaos-themed comment about working on it. But it sounds like we are for sure going to get some information about the next Lord Pack, whether it's a potential date or maybe a hint about what it's about. I'm personally still really hoping for Game 1 versus Game 2 stuff. I've been wanting that since Game 2 was announced and even before that, just because I hate the idea of not seeing any more DLC for the Game 1 factions, who some of them desperately need it. I don't think all of them need it. Like, I could easily see there being a DLC for the Empire and Greenskins, for instance, but I have a hard time imagining a DLC for the Vampire Counts and the Dwarves. It could be done. I'm not saying it's impossible, and I'm not saying I won't even speculate about it. Especially since we know there's a dev diary coming up either this month or next month. I will go ahead and vault forward on my plans to make some videos for the base game factions of 1 and 2 about what I think their DLCs could look like if they were included in Lord Packs. I can't imagine that it's going to be another series of Lord Packs of Game 2. Just Game 2. That would be really weird, and I don't think would make sense. I guess it could happen, so I guess I should probably make videos. Well, here's what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna do videos as like so and so versus so and so, because I think there's a lot of ways that it could just be Game 1 guys, or it could just be Game 2 guys. I mean, they could come out and be like, hey, here's Vampire Counts versus Dwarves, so that you can get DLC for these factions, or Empire versus Greenskins is probably a better example. So you can get DLC for these factions. It makes them playable somehow in Game 2 because there's no way it'll be for Game 1, because Game 1 hasn't updated alongside Game 2. So like whenever they've updated the Mortal Empires map, so when they put like new stuff in Bretonnia, like Massive Oracle, or they moved Kimmler, they have not gone back and done that to Game 1. You know, it's like the current game is Mortal Empires, and when Game 3 comes out, I'm assuming it'll be called like Immortal Empires or Eternal Empires or something. Immortal Empires would be kind of a nice way to kind of keep it consistent, but I'm rambling. So I think what I'm going to do video-wise is maybe just release... I don't know, I guess probably the best thing for the channel would be to release fairly to-the-point short videos that focus on a single character and like all of the units we could see with them, as opposed to doing like super long race videos, because I need to focus more on videos that are, you know, in the ballpark of that 10 to 20 minute mark and stuff, and I think that would be a nice change of pace. But I just wanted to call attention to this, and I was awake, and I'm about to go get breakfast somewhere, but someone on Discord shot me this, so I just wanted to kind of call attention to it, because it is super exciting. I am definitely in the pack that... I was not someone that thought that 3K was threatening Warhammer. I think if 3K impacted Warhammer, it was likely that it impacted the Prophet and the Warlock, and I have very strong suspicions that the Prophet and the Warlock was not as strong as it could have been because of Three Kingdoms, but that's a rant video that's coming up in the near-ish future, which I'm pretty sure I said those exact words like 2 weeks ago, but whatever. Anyway, so I think what we're going to do is that I'm really hoping it's Game 1 versus Game 2, but it could be anything, so I'll start making videos to cover all this, because I at least want to get out one idea video on all of the Game 1 core factions and all of the Game 2 core factions before the Dev Diary comes out. But I am really, really looking forward to it, and of course, if you're just a historical fan, then you also have stuff to look forward to with the Dev Diaries, because I'm sure they'll be talking about... I think I've heard that they're going to be doing another saga title, so like Thrones of Britannia. They're kind of like slightly more focused, smaller historical titles. I think I'm pretty sure I've heard somebody somewhere mention that there's rumors or something of a new saga game coming up. Obviously, we're probably going to see at least one 3K DLC before the end of the year. I'd be surprised if we see more than that. I'm not sure how many DLCs Three Kingdoms can really expect. But then again, I have heard there's like a ton of really interesting characters still missing, or they have generic models that could use like interesting models. And there's also stuff like, you know, I think the Huns were almost certainly involved. I know so little about Chinese history as far as like Romance of the Three Kingdoms goes. It is pitiful. Mythologies I can usually keep pace on. Mythological creatures I can usually keep pace on. Actual history, even if it's slightly romanticized / embellished, I'm completely useless. I apologize. I'm not a Loremaster of history. Just fantasy history. But in any event, I'm very, very excited for this. I am still really, really... The only Lord pack that comes to mind that I could see being like a great intro to the idea that would also be super iconic would be Grom the Paunch of Misty Mountain versus Eltharion the Grim, which would be a Greenskin versus High Elf DLC. Just because those two are some of the biggest, most hated rivals in Warhammer Fantasy. I mean, there's not a ton of... Contrary to what some people think, and like the Who Would Win series maybe suggests, there's not a lot of special characters in Warhammer Fantasy who have fought each other, and even less so are special characters who have like really established hated rivalries with each other. And Eltharion the Grim and Grom the Paunch are some of the oldest and most hateful rivals. Like, they have been around for decades in our world. So really, really hoping that's where we're going to be going. And I hope you all are looking forward to all those Lord-looking videos. But in any event, thank you all for watching. I would love to, if y'all down in the comment section would let me know if you had to pick anyone versus anyone, and you get a special character. Well, let's do this. Either or both. Do which factions you would like to see as a versus. So like High Elves versus Greenskins, or Empire versus Dark Elves, maybe. Lizardmen versus Vampire Counts. Something like that. Let me know in the comment section below which verses you'd want to see, and then also let me know if you could pick any Lord, who would you want to see? Do you want to see Grom the Paunch, Eltharion the Grim, Gorok the Great White Lizard, Malice Darkblade? Who else do I got? Eltharion the Grim, or Rune Lord Thoric Ironbrow, and maybe you want to see, and one thing I'm curious about, would y'all, you know what, we'll make a separate video about that. Let's just focus on the core races, so the starting 4 races for Warhammer 1 and 2. So Greenskins, Dwarves, Vampire Counts, Empire for Warhammer 1, and then High Elves, Dark Elves, Lizardmen, Skaven. In any event, thank you all for watching. I'll see you around. Bye, guys.